I watched just like a little clip of it. Maybe I'll share the clip with you guys because the clip made me want to watch the rest of it. And it's from the Republicans Against Trump Twitter page that highlighted a section of the conversation between Mark Cuban and Vivek Ramaswamy. And I gotta say, man, Vivek he's giving pick me. He's giving insane amount of pick me.
It's ethics. The man told Mike Pence not to certify the election. The man called the Secretary of State, or was it governor? I forget, and asked for 11,072 votes. The man has stolen from more hardworking Americans.
You were against Trump in 2016, though. You were against Trump in 2016.
Right, but he was unethical then, and he's still unethical.
And in 20, right.
That's right, but that's the whole point. I actually started off supporting Donald, and then I got to know him better.
When did you support him?
Like 2015, I was like, he's great. He's he's not a typical Stepford candidate. I thought that was a positive.
I would think that's a positive, right? A business guy who's pretty practical.
But then I got to know
not
him.
Ideological.
Then I got to Trump University, Trump Soho, stole $4 million from a friend of mine that had sued to get it back. Mike Pence, 40 out of 44 people.
Just take a look at the 4 years, because each of these are just going to be separate sort of personal attack rabbit holes. Look at the country in those 4 years.
No, they're not personal attack rabbit holes. They're legitimate things that actually happen.
So do you think the country, do you think the economy prospered and border crossing issues?
Squeaks is such a bad debater.
Were far better under Donald Trump over those 4 years than they've been in the last 4 years. You disagree on that premise too?
No, because if you look at border crossing, what was Obama's nickname? The deporter in chief. If you look at actual crossings, they were lower under Obama. And when Obama came in, they were higher, and he continued to lower them until the last couple months. On the economy, Obama took a fucked up economy and improved it, and Trump inherited that, right? And actually, inflation grew by 25% under Trump over Obama. The one certainty about the office of the president of the United States is the complete uncertainty, that you have no idea what comes next. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And so in my mind, and I think a lot of people's minds that oppose Donald Trump, is that you want somebody there that is educated on the world, but more importantly, just is ethical, right? So that they make ethical decisions. You want somebody when there is no precedent, it's never happened before. You want somebody that has hired not people who are most loyal, like Tony Soprano might have done, but hired the very best people. And those people want to stay and work for them, not that they're loyal. You want somebody whose first inclination is not to do what's in their own best personal interest.
So
right?
Can I just
say, you can't deny that's Donald Trump. It's just like a CEO of a company. Would you hire somebody that has a long history of stealing from people, of being unethical? You would not, and you know it.
Is Donald Trump a perfect person? No, he is not. Am I?
Bro, you pull that shit when like bro, you pull that shit when your buddy did something stupid and you're like trying to convince his girlfriend that it was a mistake. And you're like, no, dude, listen, okay, I know that he stumbled and drunk and then tried to start having sex with the couch. But like, is he a perfect person? No. Okay, no. But like, just be a little, come on. Not the president. You don't say, is he a perfect person? No.
No, we're not talking about minimal imperfection.
Are you a perfect person?
No,
you're not.
No.
But we're not talking about who's the actual best president.
Have you ever stolen money?
We have right now. I've never stolen money from anybody, no.
Either have I, right? Have you ever had a company?
I have no evidence to say that Donald Trump has either.
Oh, I do for sure. Ask Barbara Corcoran, right? She had to sue to get her money back. Ask anybody from Trump University. Ask people who bought condos in Trump Soho. Ask people from, Trump Foundation that gave money there. Ask people who are giving money today, and he's using that money for his legal fees. So this isn't like.
Okay, but like he kind of ate. Listen, okay. let me say something really quickly. By definition, Mark Cuban is stealing money because he's a billionaire, and billionaires did not make their money by working really hard. They made it by stealing people's labor. But and let me be clear. Okay? Do I think that Mark Cuban should have his wealth redistributed to all the people whose labor he profited off of? Of course. Yes, 100%. 1,000,000%. Yes, of course. Are you kidding me? There's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. Maybe when like inflation fucking hits the roof and we're all billionaires, then there's such thing as an ethical billionaire. But currently in the United States, as it stands, there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. You cannot be an ethical billionaire in the United States without having exploited millions of people, probably. Do I think his wealth should be redistributed? Of course, yes. But out of all of the billionaires, okay, out of all the billionaires, Mark Cuban is probably the one of the better ones, okay? I will say. All right. I must admit, okay? And I think that that's a fair position. All right. I think that that's a fair position. That is the big issue. There should be a cap on individual net income. Well, I mean, it should be tied to the lowest earners in America, right? Right? The bar is very low, but yes, yeah. A lot of people can afford their medication now, yeah. We can criticize Cuban while also pointing out stuff wrong with Trump, yeah. I mean, it's just not, like, the thing is, as far as billionaires go, all right? At least he's being fucking responsible and not being one more billionaire that's giving Trump a fucking platform and trying to give him more money for his bullshit. Cuban at least seems to try to come from a good place, even if we don't have the same worldviews. Yeah. Do I still think, despite that, he should have his wealth redistributed? Of course. Yes. I don't think just because he's one of the good ones, he should get to keep his wealth. Fuck no, dude, no. But I would rather spend my time attacking, like, one of the countless genuinely evil billionaires. Warren Buffett is absolved for endorsing Dems. What? No. When did I say that? What? When did I say that? What? I'd argue he's still genuinely evil. I'm drawing a distinction between, like, end goals. And it feels like Elon Musk's end goal is, I want to become supreme leader. It doesn't feel like Mark Cuban's end goal is, I want to become supreme leader. It's, I want to have a better standard of living than everyone else. But I don't want to, I will try and minimize the amount of harm I do on that way, like on the way there. I'm not going to try that hard, but I'm not interested in becoming supreme leader and overlord of the United States. I don't give a shit about that. Whereas Elon Musk is, I don't have any friends and no one likes me because my personality's dog shit. So instead I will become supreme leader so everyone has to bow down to me. Elon Musk's fantasy is playing Civ 6 with all of humanity. Exactly. There's a distinction to be made there. I also, this is just a personal principle of mine, but I also think it's important to have, I think it's important to not deal in absolutes, okay? I think it keeps you sane, and it makes sure you can make sure that your positions are not insane by having a reasonable leveled position. Right? I can say all billionaires should have their wealth redistributed, but also recognize, yeah, on the level of, like, evilness of billionaires, there are definitely some that are, like, honestly, like, straight to the gulag. Straight to the gulag, no exceptions. And And then there's some of them where it's like, you could have been a lot more evil. You could have been a lot more evil. Hey, you used your money, time, and platform to shit on Donald Trump. Okay. There you go. Galaxy Nina, thank you for the tier 1. Thank you for the 10 months. Elon Musk is too autistic to want to be a supreme leader? That doesn't even make any sense. What? That's fucking stupid. No. Not even close to true. All right, so I wanted to watch some of this interview. I wanted to watch it. Because I do like watching the billionaires fight. Okay? I do.
So,
you guys are not understanding my point, but that's okay. That's okay. Maybe I need to write it down for you guys. Shitting on Donald Trump doesn't absolve from evil. Come on. We just went over this. We just did. Here, I'll write it for you guys. Write it down. No good action can absolve the evil of exploiting workers. Okay, and in case you missed it, I'll write it 3 more times. Okay? Followed by all billionaires how would you spell that? Forcibly? No, I had it right. Forcibly. Redistributed. Mark Cuban is not an exception. Okay? But I think, in my opinion, there is a difference between, by forcibly redistributed, I'm talking about taxation. Tax the fuck out of these people until they're not billionaires anymore and redistribute the wealth through taxes by funding government programs that people need. My rule is when I watch Elon Musk, I get grossed out because I know that the guy is a total piece of shit. When I watch Mark Cuban, I don't get grossed out. I still am down to hear him talk. That's my distinction here. That's it. That's the only distinction. You can make that distinction and still be down to treat them like the rest of the billionaires. Do you guys understand? Do you guys understand? Okay. Like, when I watch Mark Cuban talk, I don't see fucking Lex Luthor. When I watch Jeff Bezos talk, I see Lex Luthor. I cannot listen to the man speak about anything without immediately seeing Lex Luthor. Do you understand? They can say any number of things. They can say a million things. They can do a million things. They can cure cancer, and I still don't think that they should be billionaires. There's nothing that they can do that would convince me that they should live so much better than the poorest person in our country. Nothing that they can do. The distinction here is just that I cannot listen to some billionaires speak because they are so obviously evil and they're such obviously pieces of shit. I can listen to Mark Cuban talk. I also think it's funny when he dunks on Vivek. I also think it's funny when he dunks on Donald Trump. That's it. Okay? That's it.
If I got this right, you're saying Mark Cuban is absolved? Shutting.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yes. Real. So, okay. We're on the same page here. We got the nuance. We got it. Okay. Stop putting words in my mouth. I did not say anything absolves him. I still think that he should be taxed to fuck and he should lose all the money that he exploited. That he gained by exploiting other people. None of that has changed. It seems wrong to have a country that has people that live with like 5 mega yachts and other people who can't even afford to feed themselves. Like, that's wrong. That just feels wrong. It has to be. Vast quantities of people living in poverty. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay. So what's the cap on wealth then, outside of making sure everyone else isn't living in poverty? I mean, I think it should be tied to the problem with putting a cap on wealth is the same problem with building a minimum wage. Minimum wage should be built based on like inflation, and it should be tied to cost of living. We should have never made it a set number, because making it a set number is bad, because it makes it harder to change in the future. And good policy is forward thinking. A wealth cap is not good because it's not forward thinking. If you want to have a good policy surrounding wealth, it should be good policy. Sorry, the good policy in that instance would be tying it to what the minimum wage in this country should be. Like, you can only make or have a wealth 5 times or 10 times or whatever to 100 times more than that of the lowest wealth person. Right? That is like working like a 40-hour work week job or whatever. You should tie it to something that will be consistent over time, or the best that you can. A top marginal tax rate solves like 90% of the problems. I mean, yeah. So, anyways, okay, enough yapping. Let's watch this.
We'll talk politics for a second. We got Mark Cuban here, by the way. This is a guy who I've loved this guy from afar. He entertains me because I learn something new when I hear him talk about anything other than politics. Politics, maybe. but I want to get your take on just, some market participant myself. What do you think is going on in the markets right now? And, I want to do the preface, if you don't mind sharing with the audience too, your brilliant move when you sold your first company. You're a guy who knows what direction markets are going. You're a macro
No, I
trader.
wish I was a guy who knew what direction markets were going, right? I just, I tend to be somewhat conservative, unless it's an industry I really, really know. But, today, as we're
Shocking development.
doing this, obviously the market's had a rough day. And I think it's a function of
rough
the
week.
fact that,
I mean, it's been a while.
whole rough week, yeah, for sure. Rough couple of weeks. And so I think when things are working really, really well, people forget the past. And so they tend to assume, the trend is your friend and it'll just keep on going in that direction. And, and that also leads to people taking on a lot more debt than they otherwise would. Things like the Japan, the JPY trade. There's just so many ways where people are like, wait, it always goes up, right? This is just a pullback. We saw that in the late 90s with the internet bubble. And I'm not saying it's a bubble now, but you're seeing that now. And the minute something happens, particularly when there's multiple things that combine to create a problem, then you tend to see a more aggressive pullback.
When did you sell your first company, the tech company?
No, the first company was a company called Micro Solutions. I sold it when I was 29. That was in
I'm clueless. I'm sure he built it from scratch himself, right, guys?
the 80s. And then we started a company called AudioNet, which turned into broadcast.com. And that was the start of the whole streaming industry. We were the first streaming company.
And when was that sold?
We sold that in 2000.
Right. So this is the famous one. I always liked this as a guy growing up. So I got my first job. I got into the world of hedge funds in 2007. So I was a biology guy, graduated in 2007, and I got into biotech investing, which I could tell you more about my background. And actually, for people to know, this is the first time Mark and I are meeting, but we've texted and messaged each other a lot. But anyway. So
there's something about, I think it's just that Vivek is such a finance bro. He's such a business bro. I hate when he speaks. He's just like, I just get slime ball energy, dude.
In 2000,
this guy seems like he would sell Herbalife to like a single mother of 4 kids that's trying her best to escape poverty. It's just something about him. He's just like such a piece of shit, Do you feel what I mean?
The reason you were famous in my mind was actually not even the company you sold, though. That was an interesting story.
Yeah, it was the hedge I put on after.
The hedge, yeah. So how did that work? So it was a stock for stock deal?
So here's what happened. So we sold broadcast.com to Yahoo for stock.
Wait, do you not know about Vivek's Alzheimer's scam? Wait, what?
Cash.
Okay.
And the rules back then were I had to wait 6 months before I could do anything because I was not an insider. And
Was that the
so
rule or was that a demand of the acquirer?
no, that was the law.
I'm
That
sorry,
was the law.
what? Is
And
what?
so I couldn't do anything for 6 months. And so, as with that in mind, I went and shorted this one index that had Yahoo that was 5% or less, but it was everything else was just internet stocks. And
Okay.
the idea was that that would get me through my 6 months, after which then I could, do what I was going to do. So I put every penny I had for the most part into shorting this hedge fund. And I figured if the internet stocks cratered within that 6 months, I would be okay, right? And if not, fortunately, then I could put on this collar. So it didn't crater. I pretty much lost all my money on that short, but now I have a lot of money in Yahoo stock. And so what I did was I sold calls and bought puts. I hedged it.
Yep.
And I did it over a multi-period of time. And as it turns out, I kind of, a lot of people, not just me, expected the internet stock market might drop considerably. Well, it did.
Listen, dude, okay, I could have, if I had money when I was a teenager, I would have been so rich, dude. I was on Tumblr. The second Yahoo bought Tumblr, if I could have hedged it, oh my God, I would be swimming in it. I would be swimming in money. I would just be drowning in it. I could have fucking told you that, dude. Are you kidding me? You kidding me?
And I ended
Sorry,
up
too bad. I was fucking 12 and not on my hustle grind yet.
actually making more money from the hedge than I did from selling Yahoo to Yahoo. And it was called one of the top 10 trades in Wall Street history.
And actually, the stock for stock exchange, that's even a tax-free trade, basically, right? That's
Well,
a
if you do stock for stock, but not when you put calls and puts on it, right?
No,
so
no,
when
no,
I do this collar.
Your stock for stock was, the stock for stock merger was tax-free, but the calls and puts.
No, because effectively it could have been, but it wasn't, right?
Okay,
but
got
I still
it.
had to,
Because of the hedge.
But
Anyway,
I still had to put
legendary,
the collar on. Yeah,
that was a legendary hedge fund move.
Because everybody was telling, because I remember going on CNBC, because I told people I put this collar on, and Yahoo was still going up in price. And they were like, don't you feel stupid that you put this collar on and Yahoo's still going up? I'm like, no, I'm sitting on my G5. I don't feel so stupid at all.
Yeah,
but, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, right? I mean, I had a B next to my name. It was more money than I ever dreamed of. And so I didn't need to get greedy.
And was that the principle?
Is a billionaire. I didn't need to get greedy. Like, Mark, I just went through all this trouble. I went through all this trouble to explain this. And here you are making me immediately want to eat my words. Thank you. Thanks a lot, fucking asshole. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Fucking really appreciate it, dude. Really just leaving me hanging fucking dry here. Really leaving me hanging dry. Thanks a lot, dude. Thank you, man. Thank you. I think good positions are built on reasonable ground, okay? And I think anyone that says everything and everyone in this category is this is probably like not great. And you probably don't want to ever become like an extremist or whatever. And, it's good to have leveled positions. And then immediately being just like, okay, wait. I looked up the Vivek stuff. Vivek Ramaswamy is a fraud and always has been. Opinion. According to his version of his success, he helmed the leadership of Roivant, a multi-billion-dollar American pharmaceutical company. He founded and gallantly relinquished his CEO role in 2021 due to his unwavering stance against ESG principles. Despite facing opposition from his liberal workforce, while this narrative may seem appealing, it is akin to the endless flip-flops that have plagued his campaign. Let's start with the basics. Ramaswamy funded this campaign through the sale of over $32 million. Okay, so this is how he... Yeah, okay. I want to see what the actual scam was about. Okay, here it is. Ramaswamy defenders may argue that Roivant performed better during his tenure as CEO in 2021, but alas, the numbers tell a different story. The reality is that Roivant's finances were abysmal under Ramaswamy's watch. During his tenure in 2019, the company's net operating loss exceeded $530 million. By 2020, the losses had doubled to over $1 billion, accompanied by a 65% decline in revenue. Wow, what a smart businessman. Wow. Only such a smart businessman like this guy could lose only $1 billion. See, you guys just aren't smart enough and work hard enough to be able to lose $1 billion as easily as this guy can. These numbers raise a puzzling question. How could a company consistently bleeding billions trade at over $10 a share? Okay, and this is in a deeply ironic twist, Ramaswamy's anti-woke campaign is being bankrolled by the profits reaped from the very policies he denounces. Incredible. Amazing. Yet the irony is not the worst of it. In 2015, there was another sordid affair involving Ramaswamy over Axovant Sciences' Alzheimer drug. In 2015, June, Ramaswamy appeared on CNBC to praise the Axovant IPO, which soared to over $30 a share based on expectations surrounding its Alzheimer's drug, Intiperdine. This drug was touted as a breakthrough, yet upon closer examination, this development fell apart. He acquired the drug for $5 million in 2014, 6 months before the IPO, after the majority of the phase 2 trials had failed to meet their primary endpoints in 2010. Ramaswamy devised a solution. His mother conducted a new phase 2 trial in 2015 involving 684 subjects. This trial conveniently claimed to demonstrate sufficient improvement to support phase 3 trials. You guys just don't work as hard as billionaires, man. You just don't work as hard as they do. You know, did you ever consider buying or acquiring, I don't know if it's like the patent, but like the development, the R&D for a drug for Alzheimer's that showed to be not effective, and then hire someone else to fudge some numbers and say, actually, it is fine? Did you consider that? Did you? I bet you didn't think that. The aftermath was a triumphant $350 million IPO in 2015, followed by a drastic fall. By 2017, the stock plummeted 75%. After Ramaswamy and his mother announced the phase 3 trial's failure, subsequent trials continued to disappoint, culminating in a 99% loss in value and name change for the company. While investors suffered significant losses, Ramaswamy profited from a higher media profile, IPO payouts, and the sale of the remaining Axovant assets in 2020. Incredible. Incredible. Amazing. 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 Oh my God. Oh my God. That's, yeah. Yeah. A masterful ruse. Yeah. Okay, I want to get on this. This is just, they're just talking about their background. I want to do this part. I want to do the Trump part.
You have a few minutes. You want to change
Easy. Edgy Moses, thank you so much for the tier 1 for 7 months. Thank
channel?
you.
We didn't actually even get to politics, but we got to do at least a little bit. All right.
Sure.
Yeah, at least a little bit. And this is too much fun. Yeah, just give me 1 second to make sure I'm good here too, because this is actually fun. Let's see here. Oh man. Okay. I've got to go. I got 10 minutes, but we have to continue this. We have to continue this. All right. I'm having fun with this. So, because you don't. This is the thing I miss actually in the country. You don't get people talking across the silos anymore. Not in an earnest way, in a way that's public, in a way that actually tells people it's okay to be friends with somebody who you deeply disagree with. I think we need more of that.
But I've convinced you to change your position, right?
No, you have not. But you've convinced me. But you have convinced me. But you've convinced me that we actually share more premises in common than I thought. Right?
Yeah, I'm a capitalist.
Exactly. We could start there. We have that in common no matter what.
I'm just a little bit more compassionate than some others. But.
Yeah, but you know, I think that.
But anyways, let's get to politics.
Yeah, let's get to politics. The only thing is, assume the best when you can of somebody who you disagree with too, because it may be a compassion for a different thing. And
no, I understand.
Assume the best is all I'd ask, even to some of the folks you're talking about. Politics here. All right. So here's what I find funny, okay? For years, and you consider yourself voting Democrat in recent years, or you're a Democrat?
No, I'm
No,
independent.
you're
I'm independent.
Okay,
And honestly, if there was a non-MAGA, when Biden was the candidate, if there was a non-MAGA Republican candidate, I probably would have voted for that person.
So, and it just, maybe to you depends on, I would like to convince you on this another day, it depends on how you define MAGA, right? Making America great. I don't think you object to that. In fact, I think you believe some of the things
Well,
you
that's
just talked about here.
That's a presumption that it wasn't great before. I'm an American exceptionalist.
I'm an American exceptionalist too. I think we need to make America greater than it has ever been.
Oh, dude, he's such a salesman. Stop selling for 2 fucking seconds. Oh, God, it's so gross. Just, he has one position. The second he thinks it's not popular, he just immediately dick rides. Shut the fuck up, dude. Have one position that you disagree with someone on.
That actually should be the goal.
Well, that's not what they said, right?
That make America greater than it has ever been before. So here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing on the politics of this, because I know you're on the other side of this. You're supporting Kamala Harris for president, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm supporting Donald Trump for president. But here's the interesting, before we get into the side tizzy that'll send political discussion into. For years, right? For years, the concern of many earnest Democrats in this country was that the Republican Party was oppressive on issues like abortion, was thoughtless on issues like gun control.
Or was thoughtless on issues like the top of the hour ad break that comes every hour, no matter what, except for the hours where it doesn't come, which you can avoid with a Prime sub or a gift sub or a sub. Because those are the issues that matter.
Believed in leaving the
got
working
you guys.
class
I fucking
behind,
got you guys, okay?
was
I got
intervening
you so
in
fucking
foreign
hard.
wars in places like Iraq that expended our taxpayer money and left the country worse off. That was
140. Shut the fuck up.
real concern that people had. Is the Republican Party was
for Democrats, yeah.
Yeah. Like they were ideologues, right? The Republican Party were ideologues on guns, abortion, foreign wars, and leaving the working class behind.
And again, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an
No,
independent.
I know you're not. Fair enough. Well, now I know that. Now you mentioned that, right? But we can have the discussion either way. So it's not necessarily addressed at you, but we're talking about this.
That's fine. No, I understand.
So now you get a candidate, and here's the thing that most people don't realize, who's actually not an ideologue, certainly on historical Republican terms at all. Not an ideologue at all in any sense, actually. Who on abortion?
But like Donald Trump is only not an ideologue because he only cares about himself. That's the only reason he's not an ideologue, which is worse.
Is against a federal ban on abortion, is a little bit more pragmatic, you could say, is in certain other issues. On gun control is softer than some Second Amendment advocates, even myself in many cases, would advocate for. You have a foreign policy that is against fighting pointless foreign wars or intervention. A Republican is publicly against that old Iraq war. And yet now the criticism of that candidate is that, oh, he's not principled enough. Right? So from the Democrats.
Well, yeah, but let's talk about that. No. You're mixing the principle that people are talking about. It's ethics. The man told Mike Pence not to certify the election. The man called the Secretary of State, or was it governor? I forget, and asked for 11,072 votes. The man has stolen from more hardworking Americans.
You were against Trump in 2016, though. You were against Trump in 2016.
Right, but he was unethical then, and he's still unethical.
And in 20, right.
That's right, but that's the whole point. I actually started off supporting Donald, and then I got to know him better.
When did you support him?
He said you were a day oneer, bro. What the fuck?
Like 2015, I was like,
anything for the gift.
He's great. He's he's not a typical Stepford candidate. I thought that was a positive.
I would think that's a positive, right? A business guy who's pretty practical.
But then I got to know
not
him.
Ideological.
A big part of that is I didn't think he had a chance, and so I just wanted to kind of screw things up in traditional politics that I'm not a fan of.
Okay,
but the bigger
supportive. Okay, that's kind of funny.
Right. But the bigger point is Trump University, Trump Soho, stole $4 million from a friend of mine that had sued to get it back. Mike Pence
Why
40
don't
out
you
of
just-
44 people.
Just take a look at the 4 years, because each of these are just going to be separate sort of personal attack rabbit holes. Look at the country in those
No,
4
they're
years.
not personal attack rabbit holes. They're legitimate things that actually happened.
So do you think the country, do you think the economy prospered and border crossing issues were far better under Donald Trump under those 4 years than they've been in the last 4 years? You disagree on that premise too?
No, because if you look at border crossing, what was Obama's nickname? The deporter in chief. If you look at actual crossings, they were lower under Obama. And when Obama came in, they were higher, and he continued to lower them until the last couple months. On the economy, Obama took a fucked up economy and improved it, and Trump inherited that, right? And actually, inflation grew by 25% under Trump over Obama. And what was the third one?
You guys, border and economy is where I was started talking about.
Right.
So, look, we hit the all-time low on border crossings in about 2019, 2020. Okay.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure?
It's actually the chart that Trump was turning to when he got shot, right? That was exactly
right, but that doesn't make it right.
It went up in the first 2 years, but then they only implemented the Trump controls about a year and a half to 2 years.
Let's just put that off to the side, and we'll check that to make sure that border crossings weren't lower under him.
The lowest point was lower than it's ever been. The lowest point, I'm not saying the average, but the lowest points was lowest than it's ever been. Yeah.
Okay, we'll check. But Obama deported
okay, we'll check.
of the number of illegals that Trump deported.
Which you're in favor of, by the way? Are you in favor of deportation?
I don't have a problem if they're here illegally. Just do it compassionately. Don't just stick them in a cage. But I have no problem with removing people who are here illegal, particularly recent. Because who knows the number, 10 million, 11 million, whatever it is. But you can't just all of a sudden, how you approach it is critical. And Trump has not said a word about it yet. And he's been talking about it forever. But again, that's not the core issue. You want to talk about
lives. That is a core issue. Crime and economy.
I get that. But you know what? The one certainty about the office of the president of the United States is the complete uncertainty, that you have no idea what comes next. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And so in my mind, and I think a lot of people's minds that oppose Donald Trump, is that you want somebody there that is educated on the world, but more importantly, just is ethical, right? So that they make ethical decisions. You want somebody when there is no precedent, it's never happened before. You want somebody that has hired not people who are most loyal, like Tony Soprano might have done, but hired the very best people. And those people want to stay and work for them, not that they're loyal. You want somebody whose first inclination is not to do what's in their own best personal interest.
So can I just say,
you can't deny that.
Yeah, the fact that Obama gets such glazing from people like Cuban is like the mark of how bad he was. Yeah.
Donald Trump.
I'm reluctant to get into, because I'm not a particularly partisan hack type Republican versus Democrat person.
This has nothing to do with partisan.
And so I'm also very critical of the Republican Party. So I'm reluctant to say what I'm about to say. But like when you think about this, right? You look at someone like Biden over the 4 years. I know it's Kamala Harris the nominee now, but what is your attitude towards the fact that you talk about self-interest? Nothing bothers me more than politicians looking after their self-interest when they're in office. What is your perspective on, while Joe Biden's the vice president of the United States, his son serving without a qualification or an iota of a qualification on the board of a Ukrainian state-affiliated energy company?
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, right? It was a mistake. Yeah, but his son was an adult in his 40s, right? As a parent of,
I thought you were saying Hassan, but I just realized he said his son.
Control my teenagers. You're not going to control an adult.
But there's good evidence that he's not looking the other way.
And he's going to jail. And that kid is going to jail. And on top of that,
felony gun possession charge.
No, I get that. But on top of that, you had Comer and others who tried to impeach Biden and did a complete investigation of it, and who came to the conclusion that there was no there in terms of the big guy, right? So, but let's just say it was completely investigated, and we haven't even gotten into the Mueller report, right, and what they came out with.
Yeah, but the Mueller report, that's actually great to talk about, because that impeded the first 2 years of his presidency on the basis of allegations. But that's not the issues.
Yeah, but you're talking about policies.
The heart of this.
Look,
I am concerned about policies. I'm deeply concerned. I have to admit.
No, I'm not unconcerned. I'm not unconcerned about policies, right? But it's just like a CEO of a company. Would you hire somebody that has a long history of stealing from people
See,
of being unethical.
I'll tell you,
You would not, and you know
here's what I'll
it.
say. Is Donald Trump a perfect person? No, he is not. Am I a
No,
perfect
we're not
person?
talking about
I'm not.
minimal
Are you a
imperfection.
perfect person?
No,
You're not.
no.
But we have to
We're
ask
not talking
ourselves,
about
who's the actual best
have
president?
you ever stolen money?
We have right now. I've never
No.
stolen money
Have
from
you
anybody.
ever-
No.
Either have I. Right? Have you ever had a company?
I have no evidence
that-
to say that Donald
have
Trump
you
has
ever
either.
Oh, I do for sure. Ask Barbara Corcoran, right? You know, she had to sue to get her money back. Ask anybody from Trump University. Ask people who bought condos in Trump Soho. Ask people from, Trump Foundation that gave money there. Ask people who are giving money today, and he's using that money.
It just looks like he's like loading. Like you can hear the dial-up noises in the background of his head.
For his legal fees.
So-
This isn't like a little discretion. This is a habit.
Mark, I
That's
think that
why
I think that,
can't support him.
Yeah, so look, I think that's less about politics and more about maybe like a criticism
Yes.
of one man. But
No, but that's the whole point.
So look,
You were talking about ethics. You would not. Have you ever told any of your employees to short pay a vendor
No.
just to try to save some money?
No.
Either have I. Right? What do you think about somebody who does that? You know what was crazy to me during the trial?
I think a lot of what's happened is, because you saw this in the New York trial. I don't know what your perspective is on the New York trial or how closely you followed that.
I did.
I think that trial is fundamentally unjust against Donald Trump.
Okay.
Right? Do you agree
Let's
with
just
that?
say it is.
Do you agree with that?
I don't. No, not necessarily. Because
I think if
look,
you're in the
he could-
position where if you say a prosecutor comes for you, right? Because you're a business guy, you can empathize with this, right? If you're running a company.
I've had the SEC come after me, so I get
but
it.
let's say you have a lawyer's bill that comes in and you classify it as a legal expense. All right. But part of this was you were paying off hush money to Stormy Daniels. And the government's theory of the case is no, you should have classified that as a campaign expenditure. Think about this. If you had to classify that as a campaign expenditure, had he said that's a campaign expense, so he uses the campaign account to be able to pay hush money to Stormy Daniels, they should be and would be coming after him for that, right? Because you shouldn't use political campaign.
Well, that's what he did, which is what he
didn't use the
did.
campaign money. He used the whole government's whole theory is he should have been using the campaign money. He used personal money for it. So my point is, in a lot of these cases, they were going to get him either way, right?
Okay, so first of all, Hillary Clinton.
Dude. The thing that I don't understand is like, Vivek, that's a sinking ship. Like Trump is not, he's not on the up and up. Like, why are you, this is going to be a huge stain on your permanent record, bro. You don't even want to defend the guy. Sassy, thank you so much for the tier 1. Thank you. Why would you want to go down with that ship, man? Like, it's so pathetic. You can show them video proof of Trump saying he actively steals from his supporters, and they would say it was some 4D chess move and he didn't actually mean it. Yes.
Clinton did something.
Is he hoping for like a cabinet position or something? I mean, probably, yeah. Or like at the very least, policy change that'll let him make even more money. Vivek got some Trump glaze on his chin stuff.
A lot of this has created distortion. My guy here is giving us like signs. We got to go. I'm going to this magazine interview. This is fun. If you're down for doing this again and continuing, I would love it. Hey,
immediately runs away. Gets called out, immediately runs away.
Do you know,
this is never surrender except when you have to.
This is random. Do you know Reid Hoffman or not? Not really.
Barely. A couple emails.
I actually was interested in getting, because he also seems like a guy who, more than you. I mean, I would really disagree with him, but he also seems like a smart guy, and he's come up.
Yeah, he is a smart guy
recently. So if,
he's a smart guy.
If you happen to know, because I've never had any connection with him, I disagree with him on a lot of things, but some of his advice for Kamala Harris I thought was pretty interesting. I mean, if his advice to her, as I was reading publicly, because I was fascinated by this, is fire Lena Khan and distance yourself from what he calls the Trump-Biden tariffs. Mm-hmm. I just thought it caught my attention.
So let me ask you a question, just a hypothetical, real quick in closing.
Actually. So I want to talk to, if you want, you, me, and him want to have a discussion.
I'll connect him.
No, I mean, if we don't do this, but just have him pop on the equivalent of this.
No, you two could talk. You guys could, he's smart. You guys talk.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. If, you've seen what's happened with the border crossings recently, right?
Yeah.
They've dropped dramatically. She said she would sign the bill that the Republicans put together, right? Inflation is declining rapidly. She won't have tariffs, right? So effectively,
we don't know about the tariffs. Actually, I want to see what comes.
No, I'm pretty sure she won't have tariffs, right?
It depends on which kind of tariffs.
Anyways. So what I'm about to say is, if she checked all your policy boxes, would you vote for her over Trump?
Well, she doesn't check. I mean, she's dead set.
I'm just saying because she hasn't come
Which-
out. It's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah, but what
It's
I'll
a
tell you- what I'll tell you
hypothetical.
this- what I'll
It's
tell
a
you this is-
hypothetical.
I'm going to vote for the candidate who I believe has the best policies for the United States of America and who has some basis to carry them out. In my mind,
Okay.
that's exactly why I'm voting for Trump. That's exactly why I'm voting for Trump.
I mean, again,
So if somebody
I won't
and Trump and I don't agree on 100% of policies. I mean, I ran for president last year, for God's sake, right?
Obviously,
And,
yeah.
and there's some areas where he and I have had open discussions. where-
Yeah,
and
whatever.
slightly
Shut the fuck up, dude.
different
PR
views,
talk.
and that's
But
great.
again, let's just say that list of policies you
I will
have in your
vote for
mind.
I will vote for the candidate who I believe is committed to enacting the policies I agree with for the United States. Is committed to enacting is what I will say. But the candidate who I believe is most committed to enacting the policies that I care about, and well, you know what's number one on the list for me is dismantling bureaucracy. Dismantling
Okay.
bureaucracy is
So
my
if-
passion.
if-
So who do I
so
think is
if
more
the
likely?
other-
If Kamala Harris comes out and says that she's going to fire 75% of federal bureaucrats and shut
Nobody
down
could do
excess
that.
agencies,
But you can't do that.
She'd have
You
my
can't
attention.
do that.
She'd have my attention.
You
though.
can't do that. You
Well,
can't do that.
You and I can
But
disagree.
what you can do what
I
you
think
can
actually
do is
can do
use
that.
use technology to make the government a lot more efficient.
Sure,
So that,
add that in there too to replace
so
a lot
that
of the excess.
government declines in size while improving the amount of
Cuban is like, what the color of the vice grip on your balls is? What the fuck? Stop.
impact it has for the people
Stop.
who need it most. They're not mutually exclusive, right? But you can't. There's no legal basis to fire 75% of any department, and you can't
I
just
think
throw all that.
that mass firings are absolutely in just like a CEO can do.
Well,
at a
even if
company.
you do,
It's time to go.
so
Man, we're having too much fun.
Anyway,
We're
we'll
having too
finish
much fun.
another time.
All right, man. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Vivek.
It was a lot of
Take
fun.
care, bud.
Thank you.
It was.
Thank you.
That was horrible.